Lauren, first off, I think you make a great point. I think the DH spot's going to help him a little bit. Certainly, Buck's going to maneuver him and Dom Smith defensive-wise, but it takes pressure off. I remember going out there, like Pete Alonso's worked hard on his craft to make himself an adequate first baseman, but there are moments where your offense affects your defense and vice versa. And I just think when he can sit a couple days a week and focus on strictly getting hot, getting underneath, getting loose, watching video, and then coming out and having some ABs, I only think it's going to help. But when you think about Polar Bear, obviously you think about the home runs. Most home runs since 2019, all right? And it's not really close. I mean, he's got Eugenio Suarez by 12. Matt Olson's got 91. Nelly Cruz, Nolan Arenado is on fire, one of the best hitters in the game right now. And he also leads MLB with the most barrels over that span. You know what else? Third in RBIs and fourth in total bases. So let's dive in. We chronicled, we skyboxed him last year, and we talked about, and it's been a common theme in today's game, you got to be able to handle high velocity, and he can certainly do that. But when I think about Pete Alonso and I think about the evolution of his swing, not much has changed since he broke into the league. I mean, why would you? 2019, he sets the record. 53 homers and 120 RBIs, and then last year, 37 and 94. We're going to quickly show you his 3 home runs this year. He's got a little choke up on the bat at times. Can go oppo. And what I love about him, and we're going to show a side angle of him, right here coming up after yesterday's 2-run bomb. And I want you to pause it before we get started. Right there. Talked to Buster Posey a lot about this, and it was chronicled last year. He made a subtle adjustment. I always thought Buster, when I played with him in San Francisco, had the most minimal hand movement. All right, you talk about getting ready to hit. And you hear a lot of guys talk about that rubber band effect, like as this foot's going forward, these hands got to go back. But how do they go back? Not everybody wants to load their hands straight back, or can, or does that feel comfortable to them? And especially in a game of high velocity, Buster Posey talked about getting from A to B, super quick, minimizing movement, getting on top of the fastball, and not going through this expansive, like how I used to hit, it was a toe tap, it was drop the hands and hope they get back up in time. You're seeing a lot of guys with minimal hand play. And when I look at Polar Bear, he's a guy who sets himself in a power position with his hands just a little bit above that New York on his jersey, and it's just kind of a pump of the hands, and I am getting there as quick as possible. Take a look at this. The hands are going to go down real quick, get up and on top of the baseball. You're not getting on top, pause. You're not getting on top of the baseball, but your mind's playing tricks on you to tell you that your hands are in a position of fire. So it's down and up as opposed to straight back. No one did it better. Show this real quick again. Boom. No one did it better than Barry Bonds. He didn't load his hands back, down, up, and go. As long as they got back up, and you see Polar Bear kind of doing the same thing, he could get to the ball in time. Pause. The reason I bring up Buster Posey, it's a little more subtle. He's got his hands a little lower, so that's why he's susceptible at times to getting beat at the top of the zone with high velocity, okay? So maybe he goes into a little bit more of a peak valley season than a Buster Posey will, who's got his hands a little bit higher and is looking to play pepper with the baseball a little bit more, especially with 2 strikes. But you're seeing Buster, very minimal hand movement through the baseball, driving it. And I always thought Manny did it from the best position. Nobody loaded their hands like Manny Ramirez right there. I mean, it was here. It was almost like they were along for the ride, going up and just driving down and through the baseball. So I think you're seeing a lot of guys today kind of mirror some of the great hitters that have come through, especially the power guys, the Bondses and the Manny Ramirezes. They get to these heaters so quick. They know it's explosive velocity, and they're able to drive it out. But you're also seeing a maturity level and starting to understand how people are attacking him. Strikeout percentage 2019, 26.4. It's dropped significantly, 6%. Whiff rate's gone down. Hard hit rate's gone up. And he hasn't lost any of his power along the way. So he's only getting better. And Buck will do wonders for him as well, mentally.